As she said, I'm the founder and CEO of Reach Your Peak LLC, and that's an entrepreneur training company. And I do host a weekly live show. It's called the Mind Body Business Show. And that's where I interview successful entrepreneurs just like Lois from all over the world. I'm also creator of something called Carpet Bomb Marketing, as she mentioned in the beginning. It's a breakthrough system that helps businesses to saturate the marketplace with their message. Go ahead and advance. And when you stay until the end of this presentation, I will provide you a gift that can end up saving you countless hours and thousands of dollars of trying to figure it out all on your own by trial and error, because I've invested the time and I've invested the money, so you don't have to. So stay on until the end so you can grab this incredibly valuable gift. I cannot wait to bring that to all of you. And as a software engineer for over 25 years, I've long since turned entrepreneur. Yes, I am a bit older, maybe than appearances would give. I was always a huge fan of automation. And trust me, the last thing I wanted to do was pick up the phone and actually talk to someone. I'd rather just send them automated messages, by way of autoresponders and those things, and let those do the work for me. Okay, Lois, next one. I was convinced, completely convinced that I could make it work, and I spent many hours and an ungodly amount of money over the span of 2 decades in creating, tweaking, assembling, testing all these automated software and services. And go ahead. And the result, I found that on very rare occasion that it did work, and I emphasize very rare. Sure, there are some industries where this human-less approach can and does work. And one great example, I would say, is online retail. Think of Amazon or Spotify, where physical goods are not Spotify, it's Shopify. That's the one I'm thinking of, for where physical goods are actually the focus of transactions. And so it can work with those business models, but we're talking mostly here to small business owners, coaches, and the like. So go ahead, Lois. And here's the thing. Listen, when the rubber meets the road, I found that the most important and most successful strategy in building a business is in doing so by creating actual relationships. I know this is about automation. Relationships are also very important. So look, when I was in absolute denial for a very long time, primarily because I didn't want to have to talk to anyone. And if you're anything like me, I thought it way too cumbersome and way too time consuming to attempt to build a business just one person at a time, instead of maybe blasting out emails to thousands at a time. Let's advance. Then about 8 years ago, I ran into a gentleman who would ultimately become my mentor. And from him, I learned the absolute importance of building personal relationships to help grow a business. And I learned that, yes, it does take time. It does take a lot of work. And it does take showing up to things like seminars, workshops, and networking events like you're watching right now. And the thing is, I just wanted the quick fix, the instant gratification, build the list, then email them, and my business would explode, or so I hoped. So with my mentor, I learned firsthand the sheer power of relationship building and the importance of maintaining and nurturing those relationships once they were established. And I began getting clients in my own business, and I could see growth was soon to come. And so as a solopreneur, I was now faced with another problem. Okay, now I've got clients coming in, but I can only handle so many. I'm just one person. So at this moment, my business wasn't scalable. I had no systems by which to grow my business, and there was just simply too much to handle on my own. Go ahead, Lois. There were things like building and growing my social media presence on all of the major platforms, scheduling new guest experts for my weekly live show, the Mind Body Business Show, we mentioned that earlier, setting everything up for that show, and then handling all of the post-show activities, such as following up with a past guest and updating the show website for the next show, editing out the audio from the video, and then uploading that to 25 podcast platforms. And the list goes on and on and on. And then on the client building side of things, there were tasks such as adding leads that came in from Facebook ads into my CRM. And CRM, for those of you that may not know what that means, that's customer relationship management. It's a tool. Also, following up with these potential clients through text and emails. In addition to scheduling strategy session calls, I think you're getting the picture. It was unbearably too much for one person to handle as a solopreneur. And now you can go, Lois, I was in serious need of systems. And as Michael Gerber states in his book, The E-Myth Revisited, this one hit me right between the eyes. If you don't have systems in your business, then you have no business. That one hit me so hard, and I'm so glad that I read that book. I met this gentleman in person. He's an amazing guy. So what I did was, leaning on my background in software engineering, I started building and piecing together automation sequences and these funnels, that not the kind of funnels you might think of, using a variety of disparate services. And I also needed help from actual humans as well. So if we were just to talk about the show, the Mind Body Business Show, and focus on that, just that alone, I needed help in managing my social media accounts, in correcting the transcriptions once the show was over for every one of the shows. And I also needed at least one sales rep. Go ahead. When it comes to automation, now there are choices. There are a lot of choices. There are full-blown CRMs. There are website builders, funnel builders, email and text follow-up systems, online schedulers, affiliate systems, shopping carts. Yes, and the list goes on and on and on. And over the years, I have to tell you, I have used many of these aforementioned services. Go ahead. Now, I have seen several all-in-one services that combine all of these services under one roof. Many of them. These are companies who started out specializing in, say, just one area, then branched out and added other services into a one-stop shop model. I saw and I used one that started out as just a website builder, as an example. Then it branched out into including an autoresponder system, and then decided to also add a shopping cart system. And this was not planned from day one. These were afterthoughts. Yet another company started out as a webinar platform. Then they added a website builder, followed by an autoresponder, then a video hosting service, a help desk, a membership site, and back-end analytics for all of this. And my goodness, but wait, there's more. They even added an entire affiliate management service along with a full-blown e-commerce system. It was unbelievable how much they were throwing into one resource. And I'm not going to name any names here, but I've actually tried both of these that we're talking about here. And they each did a great job of marketing. And they were each able to, what I like to say is, snare me into their diabolical trap because they did such a great job. And this is not the first nor the second time I'd fallen for this all-in-one shiny object. And listen, any one of these services by itself, you see them on the screen right now, is difficult enough to pull off, let alone 2, 3, or even more. If there's one thing I know from my past as a software engineer, automation in any form takes a lot of time and resources to create. And then once it's created, it takes a whole other round of time and resources to really dial it in, because the first rendition is never the end result, and then make it into a quality product or service. Then, given the fact that these services are all technology driven, there's constant R&D, which stands for research and development, because technology is always evolving and advancing. And then if you were to top it all off, you need highly skilled team in place, a lot of people to support all of these services, each requiring its own specialized skill set. So in other words, you need an absolute army of software developers, and then beta testers and support reps and more. And it's simply too much for even a decent sized company to pull off successfully. All right, Lois. So here's the thing. We don't have much time, and I want to get to your free gifts, so I'm going to step up the pace a little bit here. I hope you don't mind. But when it came to sifting and sorting the multitude of choices and services available, as you saw, there are many, I began putting each service through my own filter or criteria, if you will. And so I came up with a simple list of criteria that each service must meet in order for me to give it a try to even begin with. I'm not even going to spend time with it unless it meets these criteria. And there you see, the first one is kind of obvious, but it really needs to work. It must work, and it must work very, very well. An autoresponder, a great example. There are many of these on the market. There's some I'll name out by name. They're very good ones. MailChimp Aweber, Get Response, Constant Contact, Active Campaign, and there's many more. And an autoresponder sends, drips series of emails over time to email addresses. And these are ones that you've collected through an opt-in form. Many of you have filled those out just to see this very presentation that's going on right now. And the thing is that these emails that are being sent must arrive at their respective destination without a big drop-off, people ending up in spam folders or not even getting to their destination at all. And here's the reason I bring all this up is it takes just a ton of time and know-how for an autoresponder company to get on and stay on these whitelists so that they can get through. And I won't go too deep into this. It gets a little techy, but suffice it to say that it takes a lot of resources and skilled personnel to pull off just one service. And this is just one example of what is required to keep one service banging on all cylinders, let alone a bunch. All right, and the second criteria is it must be user-friendly. And all of you, I can sure attest to this. Like if someone provides you a service that's confusing, then you're not going to stick around. I won't. It just makes sense, right? So one comes to mind whose very nickname it contains the word confusion in its spoofed company name. I'm not going to name it, but many of you know who I'm talking about already. Confusing tools and resources take time to navigate and to complete the task at hand. And as the saying goes, time is money. All right, the third criteria is it must have flexible pricing. Go ahead, Lois. Most services I've come across already have this as part of their core offerings, so most of them are pretty good. But there are still a few out there that have you start off with an exorbitant price schedule or upfront price, and they are built for larger, more established companies. Not all. There are many great ones out there that don't do this, but there are some. So it needs to have pricing options that are tailored towards small business owners like you and I as part of their offering. The fourth criteria is, this is a big one, it must have stellar support. And I mean stellar. If they don't get back to you or respond to you within a maximum of 2 business days, then in my opinion, that is not stellar support. We are all running businesses. We need support. We're dealing with technology here. And with technology, there are issues. We've all run into them, even on our phones. And if you can't get the support you need in a timely manner, then your business suffers. It's crucial. All right, the fifth criteria is there must be a way to integrate it with other disparate services. That means other completely different tools and resources by different companies. And there is one go-to integration tool that I use that is basically the foundation of nearly all of my automations. And to find out what it is, all you need to do is stay to the end of this presentation because it's included in my free gift, and it's free, 100% free. Trust me, this integration tool is where the true automation magic comes in. All right, Lois. Yeah, and so after years of determining the best of the best services to use, I then set forth to automate nearly every step of my business by building a comprehensive automated system. And what you see on the screen right now is literally one of my systems that I developed, and this is one of many. This very system of services that you see ran flawlessly, as an example, while my wife and I were away on a 10-day vacation in the Eastern Caribbean. So leads were coming in through Facebook ads. They were then being dropped into my system that included an automated online scheduler to choose a time that was convenient for them to hop on a call. And in the meantime, I had a sales rep, yes, a human being, in place to field the calls and staff in place to continue keeping all of my social media platforms current and responsive. And this has proven to be an absolute godsend for my business. Go ahead. And as I mentioned before, I use a collection of handpicked proven services to create automations that streamline and systematize my business. And I'd like to give you a free gift. It's a collection of all the tools and resources we use at Reach Your Peak to create automations that result in freeing up an immense amount of time. And to put it in more perspective, a recent client of mine, after being on the receiving end of one of our most comprehensive automations, he just told me that he thought that I had a team of 4 people that were handling everything for us on the back end. I kid you not. And the truth is there was only one, and that one was yours truly. And I rarely had to spend any of my own time, all because I developed a series of very comprehensive automations. And I'm constantly being told by my guest experts whom I've interviewed on my live show just how organized and professional I am. And let me tell you, I am definitely not all that organized, truth be told. But the thing is, when you present yourself and your brand and your organization in such a way that it looks and acts professional, you get more business. One such past guest expert named Brigitte Hoferle, having experienced all of this magic from her end, recently coined me as what you saw on the previous slide as the automation master. So I kind of like that, and I'm going to go with it. All right. Many of these guests would ask me right after our show together, we do a debrief. Lois was one of them, and they would say, Brian, could you please show me how to do what you do? And I just said, I don't want to. It's too much. It's too complex. And then after person after person after person asked this, I finally decided to create a very comprehensive training program that I call Carpet Bomb Marketing. And it has been a year and a half in the making, and it's finally completed. And yes, we're on the correct slide right now. The free gift you see is a collection of the very tools and resources that are covered in depth, step by step, leaving no stone unturned in this Carpet Bomb Marketing course. And I say all of this to emphasize the sheer value of this free gift. Now, this is a proven suite of resources that we use literally today and on a daily basis. We've tested and tried many resources over the years. So what you'll see in this list can end up saving you months of time and thousands of dollars in hiring VAs, those are virtual assistants, and in going about it by trial and error. So go ahead and head on over to ryp.im/AGC and get your free gift. All right, go ahead, Lois. Okay, so you're probably wondering, I opened up with a question, and you're probably saying, Brian, you haven't really answered that question that started this whole presentation. Yes, I promised you in the beginning that I would provide you the answer, and I'm a man that keeps my promises. Go ahead. And so when we talk about automation versus personal connections and which is best, the real answer is, you might have guessed it, it's both. You see, we need to establish and nurture personal relationships to build our client base, to reach out to them for referrals, to form joint venture partnerships, and to expand our connection base. Then we also need, just as important, automation in order to scale and systematize. And yes, I'd like to sincerely thank you for watching and listening in, and I